Sunlight floods the queen's chamber, illuminating the opulent decorations and reflecting off the polished surfaces. Before her magic mirror, the queen strikes a pose, captivated by her own reflection in the shimmering glass. The lavishly decorated room showcases her wealth and power, every detail reflecting her opulent lifestyle. A sense of vanity hangs heavy in the air as she admires her image, lost in the allure of her beauty. The mirror shimmers, hinting at the secrets it holds and the magic that permeates the queen's domain. In the queen's chamber, she faces an ornate mirror, her reflection regal and composed, holding an unspoken tension. A beat of silence hangs, heavy with anticipation as the queen breaks the quiet. "Mirror, mirror, on the wall, who in this land is fairest of all?" she asks, her voice echoing in the chamber. The mirror answers, its voice cold and certain. "Snow White is fairest of all." The queen's face contorts with rage, her composure shattered by the mirror's cruel decree. In the opulent throne room, the queen's sharp gaze pierces through the air, regal and unforgiving on her ornate throne. She summons the huntsman, a loyal servant whose face bears the weight of time and duty. The huntsman kneels, awaiting her command, his fealty etched in every line of his weathered face. The queen's decree cuts through the silence. "Take Snow White into the forest. Kill her, and bring me her heart as proof." The huntsman guides Snow White into a forest where sunlight struggles to pierce the dense canopy, shadows stretching like grasping claws. Innocently, Snow White skips ahead, oblivious to the huntsman's growing inner conflict. Eerie shadows twist and turn around them, heightening the unsettling atmosphere of the woods. The forest seems to watch, the air thick with unspoken dread and the rustling whispers of unseen eyes. In a forest clearing, the huntsman raises his dagger, his hand betraying a tremor as he prepares to strike. Snow White turns, her eyes wide with innocence, a stark contrast to the deadly intent before her. The huntsman's resolve crumbles, his face a mask of inner conflict as he battles his dark duty. He collapses to his knees, tears carving paths down his weathered face, his body racked with anguish. "Run, Snow White, run and never return," he cries out, his voice a desperate plea against the silent forest. The huntsman stands in the forest, his breath misting in the cold air as sunlight dapples through the towering trees. With brutal force, his axe flashes, descending upon the wild boar. The forest floor darkens with the boar's blood, a grim testament to the huntsman's deadly task. His hand emerges, slick and crimson, clutching the boar's still-beating heart, a symbol of dark intent. He begins his trek back to the castle, each step burdened by the weight of his impending deception. In the queen's chamber, the huntsman extends his hands, offering the boar's heart. The queen examines the offering closely, her eyes gleaming with dark expectation. A cruel smile slowly spreads across the queen's face, revealing her sinister satisfaction. The huntsman averts his gaze, guilt and moral conflict etched deeply on his face. His conscience weighs heavily as he avoids the queen's triumphant, piercing stare. Snow White stumbles, lost and terrified, through the dense, silent forest. Hunger claws at her empty stomach, each step heavier than the last. She emerges into a small clearing, a brief respite in the endless woods. Exhaustion overwhelms her, and she sinks to the ground, hope fading. Despair washes over Snow White as she collapses, utterly alone in the wilderness. As the sun sets, long shadows stretch across the clearing, painting the scene with an air of foreboding. The 7 dwarves approach their cottage, their merry whistles echoing through the twilight. Their cheerful tunes abruptly halt as they spot Snow White lying still in the open space. A wave of shock silences them, their eyes widening in disbelief at the sight before them. Worried glances are exchanged among the dwarves, their faces now etched with deep concern and fear. Snow White awakens in the dwarves' cottage, the room bathed in the fire's glow. Shadows dance on the walls as she explains her plight to the 7 dwarves, their faces a study in curiosity. The dwarves exchange wary glances, suspicion clouding their features. After a moment of deliberation, they offer her shelter, a beacon of hope in her desperate eyes. Snow White gratefully accepts, finding solace in their simple home as she becomes their housekeeper. In the queen's chamber, ornate mirrors reflect her conflicted emotions, hope battling dread in her furrowed brow. The mirror shimmers, its surface rippling with ancient magic. The queen's face contorts in a sudden, fierce anger, a storm gathering in her eyes. The mirror speaks, its voice echoing through the chamber. Snow White lives, my queen. Her hand clenches into a fist, nails digging into her palm as the queen's fury intensifies. A chilling vow escapes her lips, promising retribution. Revenge will be mine. Sunlight dapples the forest floor as the queen, disguised as an old peddler, shuffles through the trees. She approaches the dwarf's cottage, a basket of wares swinging innocently from her arm. The queen offers Snow White a glistening apple, its vibrant red skin tempting and treacherous. Snow White hesitates, suspicion clouding her eyes, as she gazes at the seemingly perfect fruit. But the apple's allure is too strong to resist, drawing her in with its deceptive beauty. She accepts the poisoned gift, sealing her fate with a fateful decision. Snow White succumbs to the apple's poison, her eyes fluttering shut as she collapses into a death-like slumber. The dwarves return from the mines, their cheerful songs silenced by the sight of Snow White lying still. Grief washes over their weary faces as they realize the horrifying truth of Snow White's fate. With hearts shattered, they gently lift Snow White, their touch tender as they prepare her resting place. They lay her in a glass coffin, adorning it with flowers, a final act of love for their lost princess. Sunlight filters through the dense forest, revealing a clearing where a glass coffin rests. An ethereal Snow White lies in peaceful slumber. Her radiant beauty captivates the prince, who gazes upon her with a mixture of sorrow and wonder. Dwarves surround the coffin, their sorrowful faces reflecting the tragic loss of their beloved Snow White. Moved by her ethereal beauty, the prince leans down, a silent promise in his eyes as he kisses her. Snow White awakens. The enchantment fades like mist, revealing a tender smile. Her gaze meets the prince's, a silent promise exchanged in the morning light. The dwarves' faces, lined with worry, now glow with pure, unmasked joy. A shared glance seals their bond as they prepare for a journey. They leave the cozy cottage, hope blooming with each step towards the kingdom. Narration. The queen's treachery is about to be revealed. Snow White, now confident, stands beside the prince, their figures illuminated by the throne room's grand light. Before them, the queen's eyes burn with fury, her gaze fixed on Snow White. The huntsman steps forward, his face a mask of deep remorse and shame. He bows his head, a gesture of submission and regret in the face of his actions. His voice cracks with guilt as he confesses, "I betrayed Snow White, Your Majesty. I could not bring myself to kill her," the huntsman admits, his words hanging heavy in the silent throne room.